interesting facts about famous people.
10 random westerns from the 60s. Today I'm taking a look at some random western movies from the 60s. I'm looking not for the most popular or the best, just random. There are some real gems here. Let's have some fun. If you like this video, hit that notification button to get my videos as they come up. Take a look at my channel to see all my videos. The link is in the description. Apologies for any mispronunciation of names. Lonely Are the Brave, 1962. In order to free his best friend, Paul Bondi, from jail, cowboy Jack Burns gets himself imprisoned, then finds out that Bondi doesn't want to escape. Burns breaks out on his own, then is chased in the mountains by Sheriff Johnson. After Kirk Douglas read The Brave Cowboy by Edward Abbey, he purchased the rights to it and gave the project to his friend Dalton Trumbo. Douglas said Trumbo's screenplay was perfect, the best he'd ever read, and didn't change one word of it. The Shooting, 1966. An ex-bounty hunter turned miner returns to his mine to find one of his partners dead. His brother has run away and the remaining partner, who is slightly simple, is unclear as to what happened. The brother and the dead partner got into some kind of trouble when they went to town. Gashade is enlisted by a mysterious woman to take her across the desert. The woman keeps changing her mind about where she wants to go. On the journey they pick up a gunslinger the woman has hired. The party end up tracking a rider who is ahead of them, and Gashade figures out that the trip is really to hunt the rider. It's a long hot trip across the desert, with a purposeful woman, a homicidal gunslinger, the former bounty hunter, his simple sidekick, a bearded stranger, and the unknown quarry. In Warren Oates' biography, he says that he had a crush on co-star Millie Perkins. The Plainsman, 1966. Calamity Jane tries to help Buffalo Bill Cody and Wild Bill Hickok stop an Indian war. At one stage, this was envisaged as a Steve McQueen and Sophia Loren starring vehicle. Nevada Smith, 1966. The young son of an American Indian mother and white father. His father and mother are killed by 3 men over gold. Nevada sets out to find and kill them. Taken in by a gun merchant, he shows him how to shoot on time, and to shoot straight. Everything that Nevada learns goes to killing those 3 men. He learns how to read and write to learn their location. He pays people to tell him where they're at, even going to prison to kill one of them. While the movie is a western and has plenty of action, it also takes a deep look into vengeance and how one can change after a haunting incident. The character, Nevada Smith, was supposed to be 16. He was played by 35-year-old Steve McQueen. Apache Rifles, 1966. In the Arizona Territory in 1879, Captain Jeff Stanton took command of a cavalry unit tasked with returning the Apaches to their reservation. The Mascaleros Apaches, led by Chief Victorio, have left the reservation and openly attacked farmers, gold miners and settlers who trespass on their lands. During a skirmish, Captain Stanton captures Red Hawk, the son of the chief, and uses him to bargain for a truce. Stanton promises to Chief Victorio to see that gold miners and settlers are kept off Indian lands. However, some greedy townsfolk and disenfranchised gold miners plot to break the uneasy truce. They murder the Indian agent and blame the Apaches. They complain to Washington, D.C. about Captain Stanton's negotiated truce. Stanton is replaced by Colonel Perry, who intends to use a heavy hand in subduing the Apaches. The consequences of this strategy change proves disastrous. Shot in Bronson Canyon and Red Rock Canyon State Park in California. At the time of 52:22, a plane can be seen in the air on the left side.
I'm not a prisoner.
Welcome to Hard Times, 1967. In the town of Hard Times, a stranger rides in and terrorizes the small settlement, killing a number of townfolk, including Fee, the town's founder. Mayor Will Blue fails to stand up to the man, who rapes saloon whore Molly and burns down the town. Blue promises to rebuild the town after the stranger rides on, but the townsfolk give up and leave. A wagon load of prostitutes led by entrepreneur Czar shows up and together with Blue they rebuild the town. But Molly's desire for revenge and her anger at Blue for not protecting her eat at her. Blue promises that things will be different when the stranger returns. And return he does. This was originally announced for Gregory Peck and Rita Hayworth in 1965. Originally made for television in 1966, but released to theatres instead, before being shown on TV because of its violent content. Rough Night in Jericho, 1967. Playing against type, Dean Martin is Alex Flood, an ex-lawman who has decided to illegally profit from his abilities. He now owns most of the town of Jericho, and has hired a band of gunmen to enforce his edicts. Outside of town, Flood ambushes a stagecoach that is carrying a passenger, ex-Deputy Dolan, played by George Peppard, from a hidden spot in the brush. Flood shoots up the coach and rides away. Arriving in town, Dolan meets Molly Lang, played by Gene Simmons, who has refused Flood's attempts to take over operation of her stage line. After a few days, Dolan becomes attracted to Molly, but he sees that the odds against them are too great, and is on the verge of leaving town. But after Flood sends his men to intimidate Molly and physically rough her up, Dolan steps in. Although Dean Martin played unsavoury types on occasions, this is the only film in which he plays an outright, irredeemable scoundrel. Fire Creek, 1968. Farmer and family man, Johnny Cobb, moonlights as a $2 a month sheriff with a homemade badge in the quiet town of Fire Creek. A gang of freebooters passes through. Their leader, Larkin, suffering from a minor wound, agrees to spend the night. The gang members prove to be vicious, sadistic psychopaths who take advantage of the frightened townspeople, humiliating them for their own perverse amusement. Larkin disapproves of their behaviour. His leadership role is tenuous, reluctant to test it by exercising control over his men. The mild-mannered Cobb faces a series of challenges from the gang's antisocial behaviour. Things come to a head when Melly, an Indian woman with a mixed-race child, incurs an attempted sexual attack by one of the gang. Arthur, a simpleton stable boy, comes to her aid and accidentally kills the attacker. Cobb locks up Arthur to keep him safe, but when the sheriff leaves town to visit his wife, who is struggling in labour, there is no one to control the gang. Cobb decides the time has come to act. This marks the first time Henry Fonda played a villain in a theatrical film. He played another villain this same year in Once Upon a Time in the West, 1968. Young Billy Young, 1969. A peace-loving man named Ben Kane takes a job as Deputy Marshal of Lordsburg in the Old West. Kane is no lawman, but he accepts the badge because he has an old score to settle with the town's chief troublemaker. Once on the job, Kane must also deal with a young sharpshooter named Billy Young and a sharp and sassy saloon dancer, Lily. Quote from Lily, "Sometimes it comes in handy to know improper ladies." Death of a Gunfighter, 1969. In the turn-of-the-century Texas town of Cottonwood Springs, Marshal Frank Patch is an old-style lawman in a town determined to become modern. When he kills drunken Luke Mills in self-defense, the town leaders decide it's time for a change. They ask for Patch's resignation, but he refuses on the basis that the town, on hiring him, had promised him the job for as long as he wanted it. Afraid for the town's future, and even more afraid of the fact that Marshal Patch knows all the town's dark secrets, the city fathers decide that old-style violence is the only way to rid themselves of the unwanted lawman. John Wayne and Clint Eastwood were considered for the lead role. Working titles for the film included Patch and the Last Gunfighter. I hope you like this video. If so, make sure you hit the notification button to see my new videos as they come up. Take a look at my channel to see all my other videos. The link is in the description. Also take a look at my Facebook page as well. I appreciate likes, shares and subscribers. Bye for now. See you again soon.
Please take time to take a look at my Facebook page for new information.